We begin at 5 with the very latest on the campus tragedy at Brown University. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. We are still awaiting an update from officials, but the Target 12 investigators have confirmed that officials have identified the person of interest in the shooting. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of the investigation told Target 12 the investigation has intensified over the last 24 hours. Law enforcement officials also tell Target 12 that federal, state, and local authorities have discovered evidence that suggests Saturday's shooting and the killing of an MIT professor may be linked.
We have some good news for you tonight. Hospital officials confirm all 6 patients still being treated are now in stable condition. That means the last patient who had been critical but stable condition yesterday has now been upgraded. 3 others have been discharged.
And taking a live look at the Providence Public Safety Complex now, where we are awaiting the latest press conference from city, state, and federal officials on the investigation. Of course, as soon as that begins, we will bring it to you live. But right now, Target 12 investigator Tim White joins us.
And of course, we have team coverage on this. We'll get to Kayla Fish. But first, Tim, a lot of new developments today. Now we have a name for this.
Yeah, Mike, Shannon, they know who they are looking for at this point. This is a significant development in this investigation. And law enforcement officials that I've been talking to throughout the day have described this individual as sophisticated, that he's been able to elude authorities and do so in a savvy way. Now, as you recall, police yesterday were looking for a person they believe interacted with the suspected shooter. We have learned they have tracked that person down and have interviewed them. Now, police do not think that person was involved in the shooting. I want to stress that, but rather confronted the person of interest outside the Barris and Hawley building prior to that shooting. Now, the person of interest ran away from that individual, and you may recall there's some video here, you're looking at it on the screen, of the person of interest running. Now, again, this is before the shooting, so a lot of people, a lot of viewers called in and thought this was rather bizarre that the shooter was, or the suspected shooter was running at that point, and we now know why, because he had come in contact with someone, and that person has cooperated and helped police in their investigation.
And yet still went back even after that confrontation.
That's right.
To carry out his plan.
Yeah, which suggests, of course, this is a targeted thing in that moment.
So we also now know that there is that they're at least investigating a link between the killing of an MIT professor and the Brown University shooting, which originally in, I believe it was Tuesday's press conference.
I think that's right.
When the FBI director was asked about this, he said, as of right now, our teams that we're working with in Boston do not believe these two are connected. Obviously, something may have changed.
New evidence. Shannon, changed. They are analyzing new evidence in this case that suggests there may be a link between the Brown, as you said, the Brown University shooting and the killing of that MIT professor. That was Monday night. So you had Brown was Saturday afternoon, just 4 o'clock or so, and then Monday night the MIT professor was shot multiple times inside his Brookline home. He was transported to a local hospital and he died the following day. As you said early on, the indication was they are not connected, but new evidence that they are looking at suggests that there may be a connection. What is key here are ballistics testing, and to see if any of the ammunition used in Brookline and the ammunition used at Brown University, if that is a match, and that will be obviously a strong indicator.
Any prosecutor or police official will say they want a weapon. And
yes,
that's something that has not been found yet, right?
That has not been found. Good question, though, Mike. We now know it's been a big question on the mind of many. More than 40 rounds are believed to have been fired at Brown University. It's a 9mm handgun, and police have received evidence or gotten their hands on evidence. We talked about this yesterday at the crime scene at Barris and Hawley, that they're testing for DNA.
Do you expect them to reveal a lot of the questions we all have, even at this point in the press conference we're waiting for?
Yeah, we've been waiting to see if officials are going to, again, they know who they're looking for. Are they going to release their name? That is obviously whenever they hold that press conference tonight, that'll be the big question to see if they do that.
All right, Tim White, thank you. And our team coverage continues. Kayla Fish is live at Brown University with law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell. I would love to hear his thoughts on these major developments today.
Yeah, Colonel, what are you thinking as you know, we're getting all of this new information? Of course, a lot has changed in the past 24 hours.
My guess they're holding that information tight, even though they know who the person is, to try and take that person off the street without the help of the public. And that is not a negative, that's a positive. Once it goes to the public, they're going to be inundated with calls, leads. Some of them are going to be legitimate, some not. They know that they get prepared. So my guess is they're trying to get this person off the street. If they have not been successful with that, locating a car, how this person escaped, to Tim's point about the gun, matching that up, the DNA, the bullets, all that coming. And then you're talking about warrant. Are they getting a warrant for his arrest? There's a lot of reports out there about a warrant to get this person off the street. So in general, I think I wouldn't say they're guarding it, but they understand what's going to happen when release that person's name is going to go across the country, which is going to inundate them. And it's not like they need to do any work. They want to do the work, but they want to see if they can get it right before they release it.
Absolutely. And we talked earlier about just the new avenues that identifying this person of interest really opens up for law enforcement. Now they can look into, this person's background and other things that can help in their investigation.
It's like peeling the onion. Absolutely, you're correct. They're going to look at family, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriends, relationships, social media, phones. Everybody and anybody is going to be interested in telling them. They have to vet that information. They got to be prepared for that. Phone lines are going to go crazy. Social media is going to light up. So it's really, really important that if they do release the name, hopefully that happens. The goal would be not release it and have that person in custody by the time they do a press conference. If that doesn't happen, getting that name out is critical. This is a really huge, important piece of an investigative process.
And again, coming back here, we're standing outside of Barris and Holly where that shooting took place on Saturday. We talked a little bit earlier today about the need for closure, and a lot of these questions that have gone unanswered, we're now a little closer to getting those answers.
Hopefully. And for the parents, the families, it's chilling to just sit here and look at this thinking, if you're a parent, I have children that went to college that, I think they're going to be okay at college. So yeah, it's really, really important that people can understand when and if this person's arrested. It's not over for them, but at least they know that person's been at least brought to justice, and there's some comfort. And for the neighbors, the people who live around here, not just here, anywhere this could happen, he's still on the loose. So that's the big concern, taking someone like this off the street, because if they do something like that here, they would do something anywhere else. It could be a supermarket, it could be anywhere. And it's chilling because there's no activity on the street. So it's happening across Rhode Island, and hopefully this leads to this person getting arrested.
Absolutely. And as we've been mentioning, a lot of work happening, behind the scenes, behind closed doors as police continue to investigate this. We're still waiting on an official update. We don't know what time that might be, but we are standing by ready to receive that information and bring it to you as soon as we get it. That's the latest live here outside of the Barris and Holly building on Brown University's campus. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Kayla. As we await the identity of that person of interest, we're hearing from some East Side residents who have found their normally quiet neighborhood in the middle of a major investigation. 12
News reporter Ethan Logue was on Ives Street earlier today, speaking with people living in the area where the person of interest was spotted after Saturday's shooting. Ethan?
Of those two people I spoke with, one was home when the shots rang out, while the other was at work just a short distance away. However, both were surprised to see their homes highlighted by police as an area of focus in the aftermath of the shooting. On Wednesday, Providence police releasing a map highlighting their area of focus as the investigation into Saturday's shooting continues. Included on that map, a small sliver of red, indicating an area where authorities are looking for more evidence on Ives Street, in between East Manning Street and Pittman Street following the shooting. Only a few houses lie in that area, but for residents who do live there, it was quite the shock to see their homes highlighted.
That new map shows kind of the suspect's trajectory going right in front of our house, which is concerning. And yeah, I think people are just a little bit on edge in general.
I kind of yesterday reacquainted myself with how close all the buildings are, and I was like, oh, they're 2 long blocks away from here, and when they showed the map and stuff, it made a lot of sense.
Residents noticing the increased FBI and police presence in their neighborhood, adding with the area they live in a focus in the investigation, they have had agents on their front porch asking questions.
I think they understand that this is a unique situation for a lot of people who live in this community. It wasn't aggressive. They asked about cameras. They asked about, kind of the normal stuff that people in this neighborhood are used to hearing them ask about.
Thursday marking the 6th day of the investigation into Saturday's shooting, and still no one is in custody. Those living in the area say they simply want to see officials apprehend the person who is responsible, no matter the time frame.
Sometimes this is what it takes to find someone. You know, you want as quick of a resolution as you can have, but as we saw earlier in the week, you know, a quick resolution doesn't mean an accurate resolution.
Regardless of where and when the suspect is caught, neighbors realize a long period of healing is ahead of them.
We're going to get through this because we're a community, and we're a really strong community, and I think that's really clear. I mean, we're very much a united front.
And to offer a small piece of good news in the wake of this tragedy, one of the residents I spoke with told me it's been nice to see her neighbors coming together and checking in on one another as all of this happened right in their front yards. Reporting in Providence, Ethan Logue, 12 News.
Ethan, thank you. And while new developments on the investigation come down, the memorial on the campus continues to grow.
Sophia Szabo has been there all day and joins us now live with what she's seen. Sophia?
Well, Mike and Shannon, many of those Brown students have headed home for the holidays and to recover from all of this. So while it is quiet out here, the emotions from the people who do stop by are still so fresh. Many still seem to be processing the severity of what happened. And you're right, the memorial continues to grow in size. Just moments ago, we saw a Brown student lay down a flag, placing it on the ground in front of a wall of flowers, each bouquet another person touched by this tragedy. The pictures of Ella and Mohammed, the two students killed, well, they brought tears to the eyes of mourners, their faces a devastating reminder of two young people taken from the world that they were just starting to discover. We did catch a brief moment of joy when comfort canines were brought in to tend to grievers, and they knew immediately who needed them. We also met a Brown alum who was wearing her emotions on her sleeve. She shared with us a letter she wrote to the victims.
E and M, when I learned more about you two, I realized how much you represented Brown and what makes it special. What sucks is you will never finish your journey as Brown undergrads. We will never meet at campus dance or at the local bars. My heart breaks thinking about all the people who knew and loved you. If there is an afterlife, I pray you are at peace. I hope it's like heaven. Your Brown family will never forget you. I wish I could hunt him down myself.
Very powerful. Now, as these new developments come down that we talked about at the top of the show, I want to share something that a community member told me earlier today, and that is that justice and healing aren't necessarily always the same thing. So while law enforcement works to bring the person who did this to justice, the community is going to continue working at healing. Reporting live in Providence, Sophia Szabo, 12 News.
Sophia, thank you. And if you have any information related to Saturday's shooting on the Brown University campus, investigators are hoping to hear from you and see any related images you can supply. You can call Providence Police at 401-272-3121. You can also submit video or images at fbi.gov/Brown University shooting. This info is also available for you in our coverage on WPRI.com. And please stay with 12 News for continuing coverage of the Brown University shooting on air on WPRI.com and on the free WPRI 12 Plus TV app.